I'm Kasem. Well, we have 3 debuts this week, and that means we have to say goodbye to 3 droppers. Falling off the survey are No Tengo Dinero by Los Umbrellos, 4 Seasons of Loneliness by Boys to Men, and My Love is the Shh by Something for the People. And rolling in at number 36, here's our second debut. It's by Natalie Imbruglia, a singer and actress from New South Wales, Australia. This is her first hit in the USA, Torn.
I thought I saw a man brought to life.
Top 40 Countdown.
I'm David Perry, counting down the 40 biggest hits in the USA. Now we're up to Natalie Imbruglia. She's the 3rd Australian soap opera star to hit big on the pop charts here in the United States. Considering the small number of Australian acts who have hit on the charts in the U.S., that's a pretty high percentage. The first of them was a singer who found fame as Dr. Noah Drake on the top-rated daytime soap opera General Hospital. A singer who hit with a string of big songs like Jesse's Girl, Don't Talk to Strangers, and Love Somebody, Rick Springfield. Then there was the star of the wildly popular Australian soap opera called Neighbours, a woman who went on to hit big in the USA with I Should Be So Lucky, It's No Secret, and her biggest hit, a remake of the classic The Locomotion, Kylie Minogue. And interestingly, the very same show that gave us Kylie Minogue gave us the 3rd and latest Australian soap star to hit in the USA. She spent 2 years on Neighbours before leaving for a music career.
The hits from coast to coast.
I'm Kasem. These are America's biggest hits by the world's hottest stars. Rising a notch to number 3 is Natalie Imbruglia. The former Australian soap star thanks American sitcom star David Schwimmer for his friendship in the liner notes of her debut CD, Left of the Middle. Here's Natalie with Torn.
There's nothing where he used to lie. My conversation has run dry.
American Top 20. Top 20.
And that means we're up to the brand new number 1 song in the USA on American Top 20. It's by an Australian singer-songwriter who's come a long way. She landed her first job at the tender age of 14. This showbiz veteran grew up in an Australian beach town where she says, quote, it was only cool to have blonde hair and be a surfer chick. Well, she could surf all right, but her dad wouldn't let her bleach her black hair. Plus, she said she had tons of ambition, more than her 3 sisters and her parents combined. As a result, this young singer always thought of herself as, quote, different. But this difference turned out to be a good thing for the talented teenager, because instead of spending all of her time at the beach, she channeled her ambition into music and dance. As a 13-year-old, she was taking dance classes 6 nights a week. And at 14, her hard work started paying off. That's when she signed with her first entertainment agent. Soon after, she scored her first job, a commercial that appeared on Japanese television. The commercial, which was for Bubblicious Bubblegum, featured the spunky Australian as a character called the Pineapple Princess. And that put her on the fast track to stardom. She landed a role on the popular Australian soap opera Neighbours, and later pursued a singing career. And this week, her star continues to rise because her debut smash is now the biggest hit in the land. The brand new number 1 song in the USA on American Top 20 is Torn by Natalie Imbruglia.
American Top 40.
And that means we're up to the number 1 song in the USA on American Top 40. It's by a singer who says her life is pretty happy, and that's not good for her songwriting. For that, she says, there's nothing better than feeling downright miserable. You know, there are as many ways of writing songs as there are people who write them. And the woman who has the number 1 song on this week's survey has her own unique method of getting in the mood to write. For her, the most important thing is to forget that she's so darn happy. How does she do that? Well, first, she makes a cassette tape that consists of nothing but the saddest songs she can find. Then she listens to them and pretends that her boyfriend has dumped her. And she says that she finds that sad feeling comforting, the feeling where you have to go down to come up. Once she's in that mood, she can write songs about loneliness and loss. And that's the same emotion that attracted her to this week's number 1 song, a song about alienation and loneliness. She didn't write it, but she says the moment she heard it, she knew she had to record it. She says, I felt a personal relationship with it. I love that feeling. And apparently, a lot of other people love that feeling as well, because once again, that song is the biggest hit in the land. The number 1 song in the USA on American Top 40 for the 5th week in a row is Torn by Natalie Imbruglia.
The hits from coast to coast.
We're counting down the biggest hits of the week. Well, now we're up to the song Wrong Impression. It's by a singer who took a vow of silence to help her finish her latest album. Natalie Imbruglia says that after the huge success of her album Left of the Middle and her song Torn, she found herself trapped in a terrible position. The pressure was on to do it again, and that caused her to freeze. She says, quote, "The whole first album was overwhelming. I took a year off, which looking back was a mistake. Then I was afraid to start, and when I did start, it took a year to get going." Natalie says things got so tense for her that, quote, "I went through a period where I didn't leave the house." And she stopped speaking to everyone, demanding silence until she was done. She says that went on for days, weeks, months and months. It was really bizarre. But she says, "I feel like I've been through the worst," unquote. The album is done, and this week, a hit from that CD, White Lily's Island, moves up 2 notches to 32 on AT40. Here's Natalie Imbruglia with Wrong Impression.
Casey counts them down.
These are radio's hottest hits from Spinnerville, New York to Confusion Range, Utah. Well, now we're up to an American Top 20 extra, the song Torn, a smash that Natalie Imbruglia says was both the best and the worst thing to happen to her. It was early in 1998 that Australian singer Natalie Imbruglia first hit the charts with Torn. That song spent 11 big weeks at number 1 on the pop chart. It became the song that Natalie was best known for, and a song that's haunted her ever since. She says, quote, "It was such a huge success, everyone wanted to see if I could do it again. And I couldn't. You can't repeat something like Torn. A song like that comes along once in a lifetime. But I can't get people to understand that," unquote. Natalie has had a few other hits on our chart since, but nothing that's come close to the success of Torn. She says, "Most of me is glad I had Torn, but part of me wishes it had never happened. It's going to hang over me forever. I'll always be the girl who couldn't do it again," unquote. Now, with an American Top 20 extra, here's Natalie Imbruglia with that smash from 1998, Torn.
America's top hits.
This week back in 1998, one of the top hits in the USA was Torn. It's by a young Australian who turned to songwriting because she wasn't blonde and couldn't surf. Natalie Imbruglia grew up in a small beachfront town not too far from Sydney, Australia. She says as a teenager, if you wanted to be part of the in crowd, you had to be blonde, you had to spend all your time at the beach, and you had to be a great surfer. She's not blonde, and when it came to surfing, she was a failure. But she did love the beach. She spent a lot of time taking long walks on the beach. She would dream and write poetry and songs as she looked out at the sea. Instead of turning into a blonde surfer, she turned into a brunette songwriter and into a singer who had one of the top hits in the USA this week back in 1998. Here's Natalie Imbruglia with Torn.
American top